Ladies and gentlemen, I welcome you all to another episode of QFix Weekly Show. My name is Edwin Austin. By calling me QFix, you still get to have my undivided attention. Before this recording today, I actually called Portia. For those of you who have watched the first video that we dropped on this YouTube channel, that was on the 11th of July, then you probably remember Portia as one of the target audiences. Well, before the recording, I called Portia and asked her whether, in her wildest of dreams, she ever thought of me hosting a show, let alone a news show like this. Well, the silence between her response sounded like a roar. Then she said this: "Austin, you are not in my wildest of dreams." Either way, I'm glad we're here today. This is another episode of QFix Weekly Show, and we have some interesting news, lined up for you. The former Prime Minister caused a stir at his alma mater earlier this week, that is Maranda High School, when he dropped a student his sponsors for the Form 1 admission. I mean, before this, I never quite understood what exactly wings to fly meant, but talk about arriving for Form 1 admission like Jesus entering Jerusalem. Only difference this time being that the donkey had wings, After cruise ships and private jets, choppers are next. The hierarchy of luxury. And then Subaru boys, of course. I can't tell you how much this lad was given for pocket money, but I would bet my bottom dollar that whatever amount it was, it would surely make your rich friend look like a welfare case. I also can't tell you whether or not this lad got a cube next to the school captain, but I can tell you for sure that this young girl who scored 314 marks in her KCPE and was denied a chance to get into a high school in Kericho, I can tell you for sure that she will be less concerned about where she sleeps today. That is if at all she does. And finally, I can't tell you for sure whether this lad's grades will be as high as the chopper that dropped him for admission, but I can tell you for sure that 4 years down the line, this young lad, together with other young lads in Northeastern who walk 20 to 50 kilometers to and from school every single day, will sit for the same paper. And that actually reminds me of this boring story that old folks keep on repeating to us, how they, with them telling this, the young generation, how they used to walk, 20, 30 kilometers to and from school. Others tell you that they even used to walk, 10 kilometers from their homes to college. And after telling you, they are probably thinking, oh, now he is surprised or amazed by, the distance we covered. When the truth is, deep down, the young lads are usually like, you had a home. Wow. You had a home in college. Wow. Barack Hussein Obama, the 44th US president and the only president for that matter with an innate ability with a basketball. Well, on the 4th of August this year, Barack Obama turned 60 years of age. Yes, 60. This man has served as the US president. This man has been named Person of the Year by Times Magazine. This man has also been the first sitting US president to address the British Parliament, and more important by far, this man has won the Nobel Peace Prize. I mean, you would probably expect to hear some of these accolades being bestowed to, an old man on the verge of senility. But Barack is not that old, is he? 60 years of age with all this? I mean, the guy still has time to run for Pope, As Barack ponders on whether or not to run for Pope, the news item today here is this: Barack Obama was forced to scale back the number of invited guests, to his birthday party due to the COVID-19 pandemic, which, by the way, is still a present danger to most of us. And I must say that forced is actually an it feels like an overstatement, because if you look at the house this man lives in, he could have doubled the initial amount of people invited and still attained the social distancing. But I guess being the proponent of, vaccinations, the best, or should I say, the best thing to have done, at least in the public eye, was to scale back the number of invited guests. But if we were just looking at space, for crying out loud, this man has space. Happy belated birthday, Mr. President. After a rather calamitous start to the Tokyo Olympics this year, Kenya was glad to win its first gold earlier this week thanks to Emmanuel Korir, who won gold in the 800-meter competition that, by the way, has been dominated by Kenyans. The last 4 having been won by Kenyans. We all know that David Rudisha, who is Kenyan, holds the record to, in this particular event, the 800-meter event. And the same way, few of you know who the second person to walk on the moon was. Well, few of you know that Ferguson Rotich was the second, won silver in the same event. But of course, at the end of the day, we all talked about the gold won by Emmanuel Rotich. By the way, Buzz Aldrin was the second person to walk on the moon. I thought you should know. Thank you. 22-year-old Ugandan international Peruth Chemutai won the 3,000 steeplechase event, making her the first ever Ugandan woman to ever win a medal in the Olympics. Now, as a side note, let it be known that before white men invaded Africa and brought with them, skyscrapers, railways, English language and the mapping system, well, Kenya and Uganda lived like one, huge family. One could easily walk from Nairobi to Kampala to visit their friend and still feel like they were in Kenya, okay? Point to take home. Chemutai's gold medal is as much Kenyan as it is Ugandan. And that's not clear. Ferdinand Omanyala represented Kenya in the 100-meter competition in Tokyo. And by the way, Ferdinand Omanyala is actually a second-year student at the University of Nairobi, taking Bachelor of Science in Chemistry. He actually is a good friend of mine. Okay, I know you did not believe that last part. I mean, I could tell. There was a sudden intake of breath. Okay. Ferdinand Omanyala got to the semi-finals in the Tokyo Olympics. And the story here is not how he never managed to get to the finals. We are only here to highlight one thing. Ferdinand Omanyala defeated Johan Blake. That's all you need to know. Ferdinand Omanyala's courage and determination will galvanize other athletes in Kenya to take part in this 100-meter competition, because essentially convention had it that Kenyans can only take part in the long distance, races. But now, thanks to Ferdinand Omanyala, we hope to see more in these short track and field events. Excuse me, I believe that's my phone. Ferdinand Omanyala is calling. Please, excuse me. Ladies and gentlemen, the name Flojo in track and field events is akin to untouchable greatness when it comes to sprinting. By the way, Flojo is the short version of Florence Griffith Joyner, who is actually the holder of the world record in women 100-meter competition, whereby she clocked 10.49 seconds. Now, allow me to give you a brief history of Florence Joyner. It will only take 30 seconds, maybe a minute. Okay, maybe 2 minutes now that I'm tallying. Well, on the 16th of July, 1988, Florence Joyner clocked 10.49 seconds, making her the fastest woman in any competition. That is currently the world record of the 100-meter women competition. It is said that lightning does not strike twice, but in 1988, an exemption was made for Florence Joyner, who 2 months later, in the 1988 Olympics, not only broke the 100-meter Olympic record, but also the 200 meters Olympic and world record. Her 100-meter record was 10.54. However, there was a downside to this particular record. The reason being that there was a tailwind when she actually took part in this race. A tailwind that propelled her, it was plus 3.0 meters per second. That kind of a tailwind in Olympics is illegal, which meant that the 10.54 seconds achieved in that Olympics was not open for Olympic or world record consideration. However, before these Olympic finals, Flojo had managed to clock 10.62 seconds in the, in the races before the final. 10.62 was already an unmatched time. Hence, the 10.62 seconds became the new Olympic record. That was in 1988. For years now, female athletes have tried. Believe me, they have. A lot of them, not just Jamaicans, but a lot of female athletes have tried to equal, if not surpass, Flojo's record of 10.62 seconds in the Olympics. However, all their efforts have been to no avail. They never managed to break this record, let alone equal it. However, in this year's Tokyo Olympics, Elaine Thompson not only matched but surpassed Flojo's record in the Olympics when she clocked 10.61 seconds. 10.61 seconds. This will arguably go down to be the single most defining moment of these Olympic Games. That is unless Beyonce decides to make a grand entrance or The Weeknd performs in the closing ceremony. That would be good. That would be good. Against all odds and against history itself, Elaine Thompson broke Flojo's Olympic record, officially becoming the fastest woman alive, because essentially Flojo died back in 1998. Elaine Thompson is also one of 4 athletes to win 2 Olympic golds in the 100 meters track events. Most still, after the 70-meter mark, it is believed that Elaine Thompson attained a top speed of 39.7 kilometers per hour. How do you move at that kind of a speed? Honestly, my mind was blown by that. Lastly, and now this one will blow your mind, but this time it's your mind, because essentially mine was already blown by the statistics. It's your mind being blown now. Elaine Thompson broke Flojo's Olympic record that stood at 10.62. Elaine Thompson broke that when she attained 10.61 seconds with a headwind of negative 0.06 meters per second, which moves us to believe that if at all Elaine Thompson took part in the same race with a tailwind like the one Flojo had back in 1988, then we are moved to believe that Elaine Thompson would not only have equaled, but probably even surpassed Flojo's 10.49 seconds world record. If God is love, Thompson is a godly woman. That is all we had for you here today. While I still have you, please do take a moment to subscribe to our YouTube channel. There's something just to my left on this side of the screen. Click on it, please, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And you can also find my socials in the description below. It has been a joy, a delight to be precise, having you here today. My name is Edwin Austin. This has been QFix Weekly Show. All that's left to say from the QFix desk is muchas gracias.